Hey guys, it's B. Welcome back to my channel, Unify. I hope you all have been well. I know it's been a while since you saw me or heard from me on this platform, and honestly, pretty much all others, aside from a few stories here and there. April was interesting, for sure. There was a lot of transformation, transmutation, growth, a lot of lessons that I needed to learn. And I think that the collective also went through with all the energy shifts and that eclipse that we had, and, the pink moon. And we had a solar and a lunar eclipse last month, I think. Both were last month, unless one was in late March. I don't remember right now. But again, so much energy has been happening all around us and within us. And so I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely feeling it. I ended up awakening to a lot of different things that I still needed to work on, breakthroughs that I still needed to have. So with that said, I have quite a few notes here and a couple of different journals from meditations I did, downloads I received, that kind of stuff that I feel called to share with you. And I wanted to be on camera for that. I definitely want to be consistent with that kind of thing, particularly like making sure that I'm staying on top of my spiritual health and meditating and taking note of the things that I receive in meditation, because I do feel like it's not just for me, it's meant to be shared with the collective. And so that's something that I've been working on this past month, is just really like grounding into this new reality that we've all collectively moved into over the past, I would say, like all of 2024, but definitely April. And so now we're here, and I'm happy to be here, and I feel really good about the work that I've done and that the work that I plan to do as well. But I have a few messages to share with you guys. I also will still be doing a month ahead reading for you guys, like using my cards. I'll do that as soon as I'm done with this video. I'm going to hop over and do a tarot reading, but I wanted to come on, like I said, in person, show my face, and just do some channeling as well as share some of these downloads with you guys, because I think there's somebody out there who will see this, who needs to hear these things that I'm about to say, as well as anything else that I might receive in this video. I know it's for somebody. I have been pushed to do this, so here we go. Let's dive in. So I did a meditation just a couple of days ago, and the very first thing that popped into my head was that song. I think it's called Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode, but it's like that all I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Those are the main lyrics to the chorus. And I thought that was such a beautiful message, even though that song, the melody of it is a little bit, how do I say, I don't want to say low vibrational, but the melody of it is not like, it's not like upbeat or poppy or anything. Like in some ways it is, but at the same time, it's very just like, like, I don't know how to describe it, but if you've heard the song, you know what I'm talking about. But those lyrics in particular, that part of the song, like, enjoy the silence, and all I ever wanted and all I ever needed is here in my arms, is very much something that resonated with me going into that meditation, because I have been definitely distracting myself from just sitting in silence, just sitting in the power, which is something so necessary for us as human beings, particularly if you're intuitive and you do spiritual work, like really just sitting with yourself and with the power, or, spirit, whatever you want to call it, and just receiving is very, very important to the work that we do. And so, like, that being the very first thing I heard was just like, validation, confirmation that I needed to be sitting in silence more. I needed to be getting in touch with myself more and not constantly seeking, which leads me into the next part of that lyric of like, all I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. It's like, what are you constantly looking for? Why are you constantly trying to like find the next new thing, or, you know, make this happen, or, you know, jump into this new venture or whatever it is? And not to say that any of those things are bad, but it's just like, all you ever want, you already have. All you've ever wanted, you already have. You just have to be present and recognize that it's already been given to you in so many different ways. There's so many opportunities already available to you that have already been offered to you. But, you know, so many of us, myself included, get so focused on like our bigger goals, our long-term goals, that we forget to stop and recognize the blessings that we already have, or enjoy them, you know? Like, you know, it's so easy to just be like, oh, I did that, and then just like move on to the next thing. A lot of people too, like I've come into a lot of energy recently. Again, I'll say definitely with other people, which was a lesson for me, where there was like pressure to do things now. It needs to happen now. It's time sensitive. We're trying to do this. We're trying to get exposure. We're trying to do this event. There's just so many things that need to happen right now. And then like, I had to be like, I really want to be a part of this. I know that I can help you, but at the same time, it is not realistic for all of these things to happen now. For 1 to 5 people to even all be, you know, a part of this, it's still not realistic for this, whatever, you know, insert an example, to happen right now. Things take time for it to come together and be legitimate. For you to work out all the kinks and make it happen, to spread awareness about what you're trying to do. And so like that again was like a big wake up call for me, because I had also been in that mode of, you know, where is this opportunity? Where is this blessing? What's the next thing that has to be done? Just constantly. And it's just like never really taking time to rest. And then finding myself being totally burnt out and exhausted to the point where like, I don't even want to do any of the things that I wanted to do when I started out on the journey. You know, it's just like, you get to the point where, you know, you do burn yourself out and you get overwhelmed. And, you know, that's never a good thing, and that's not productive. And so really having to take a moment to recognize all that is already here, and then take realistic, I would say like slow and consistent steps toward the things that you're trying to build. And that message has come through so many different ways over this past month, be it in a dream or channeled, or in a reading I did for somebody else, or a conversation I had, or whatever, you know, like it's just been like constant reminders that we need to slow down. We don't always have to be going and achieving and doing. There has to be balance in everything that we do in order for it to actually happen and to last. People say Rome wasn't built in a day. I would say nothing that has made a lasting impact and stood the test of time was built overnight. Sure, there might have been, like the breakthrough could happen at any point in time along the journey, but you have to consistently be working on things in order for you to get to that point. Again, like for people to even be aware of what you're doing. And so expecting for things to happen like this constantly and for it to just be successful or even last is just not realistic. And so that's something that I have consistently been receiving this month, and something that I felt like I needed to share. Because like I said, that enjoy the silence was like the first thing to pop in my head when I shut my eyes the other day to meditate. And it was just like, find comfort there. Find comfort in sitting still, in feeling your feelings, and thinking your own thoughts. Don't constantly try to distract yourself with projects or social media or guidance even. Like, don't be, and again, these are all things that I, recognize in myself. Excuse me one sec. I'm just going to turn my, what is happening? My, there we go. Personal. Do not disturb until this evening. Yeah, I don't know, like as soon as I started this video, like nobody's hit me up like for hours, and now I'm getting phone calls and like all these text notifications from like random numbers. So yeah, just weird. But anyway, I don't know if Spirit's trying to speak and like test me, like saying like, don't distract yourself, here's 1,000 distractions. But yeah, just getting to the point where you can be comfortable just being with yourself is like so important. Especially if you're trying to make lasting change, like getting to the point where you're comfortable, like just taking little steps every day and releasing expectations around what's going to happen when you take those steps as well. Not comparing yourself to other people. Extremely important. You never know, like, how things are going to go or when you'll see that uptick in like your success or your exposure. So it's really important to not compare like your 7 months to somebody's 7 years and be like, oh my God, like they have this many followers and they're getting all this post engagement and everybody wants to work with that. It doesn't matter. Like, you are on your own journey, as we all are, and you really never know like what people have had to go through in order to get to where they are. And so to compare is just pointless. It just doesn't serve anybody to compare like apples to oranges or even a green apple to a red apple. They're just different. It's like we all have a purpose here. And so it's really important to, again, just make peace with your journey and release any expectation around how it's going to go, how long it's going to take, all of that, and just show up every day, or as much as you can, and just continue to move forward. And with that too, I haven't even read any other things from this journal. I'm just kind of going on right now. But with that too, it's also really important to rest and to not constantly be going. And I did mention that, like something similar to that earlier regarding burnout, but it's just like, if your body is tired, if your mind is tired or overworking because you're constantly thinking and going, you need to honor those little nudges to rest and to recover and to just stop. Like, that's just as important as the work that you do, because if you aren't balancing your energy, if you're not honoring like your needs as a human being, as a vessel, like you're not going to be able to handle those blessings that you're chasing after. So I just wanted to say that real quick too, because I think we all, like, especially if you're like a really ambitious person or you're like, visionary and you have a lot of different things that you want to accomplish, it's easy to be like, I'll rest later. Or people say, like, which is just silly, like, I'll rest when I'm dead, because like, not really. But like, like, no, like, it's important to rest now and to learn that lesson and to learn how to listen to your body and your mind when they speak to you. And honor them. And so, yeah. Okay, well, my next thing on my notebook actually says, do not let another's experience with things slow you down or deter you. If you try it, you might like it. Yeah, so that's another really important thing. Like, if somebody has tried to do what you are doing and they've either been successful or unsuccessful in it, don't let that deter you. Don't let somebody who's already found success in something similar be the factor that decides whether or not you do it. Like, oh, they already did that, I'm not going to do that because it already exists. It's not going to be the same. If you have received inspiration or a download to do something, it's for a reason. So don't let anybody else and their experience with whatever you're trying to create stop you from chasing that goal, from working toward creating your vision, because it was given to you for a reason and it's going to be unique, and there's going to be a certain, group of clients and people who will benefit from whatever it is that you have to offer, that will be unique to you. And so don't let that stop you. Don't let somebody telling you like, oh, this already exists, or there's already, 100 people doing this, stop you. You never know if like along your journey you're going to find like some missing link, or you're going to improve upon what's already out there in a way that would not come into existence if you didn't bring it into existence. And with that said, even the opposite is true. Don't let somebody who's tried and failed stop you from chasing after the things that you want to pursue. They're not you, and a lot of times too, when things don't work out, and this is just my personal belief, it's just not necessarily meant for you, or it's not meant to happen right now. There might be more lessons to be learned, or you might be meant to go in a completely different direction. So with that said, like that's applicable to everybody. So if that person tried and failed, I believe there's a reason for that. Maybe that just wasn't for them. It's for you to do. Or maybe they just needed to do a little bit more, or like, they gave up before even really trying to make whatever happen, So I would say don't let that be like a determining factor or an influence in your decision making. Just, I think the TLDR of this all is just like, your journey is your journey and nobody else's. So like, again, like don't compare. The next thing I wrote down was, you have done the work. Now it's time to move forward and see how much farther you can go. And that really hit me when I received that. Because you do get to a point, speaking of like the burnout and all that earlier, where you do so much work. And you realize, okay, like the journey never really ends. And that can be discouraging, or it can also be distracting, I'll say. And it can keep you stuck too. Like, don't let doing the work on yourself stop you from doing like actual work. Like, once you get to a certain point, it's time to like physically here in reality, like move forward as well, like not just internally. And so like when I heard that, it was like, I don't know, a bit of a wake up call, because it's like, I think too, when you're working on yourself constantly, you forget how capable you really are. And, you forget that you still physically have more to accomplish, that you are perfectly capable of accomplishing like right now. And the limits you can reach now that you've gotten to this point, whatever point you're at right now, so expand so much further than wherever you thought you could reach before you started on your journey. And so it's like really remembering that, again, like that journey just doesn't ever end, and it's not just an internal thing, it's also external. And so making sure that you're consistently moving forward, and that whatever you do decide to start today, like you are perfectly capable of handling and moving into, regardless of what that's going to look like to start. It might not be perfect. It might not be what you saw initially, but you can get there. You've acquired enough knowledge and skills up until this point in order to achieve whatever it is that you are wanting to achieve. And so just remember that you've done the work. Again, like, you would not receive this idea, this inspiration, if you were not capable of bringing it into the 3D for other people to experience. And so just remember that, and don't get discouraged. These are all so many things that I personally had been struggling with, which is part of why I'd post inconsistently, or get burnt out or bogged down or discouraged, not just because of my own like internal belief system, but also other people's their external whatever, like their opinions and their desires of me and their beliefs that they probably also need to work through, and me internalizing that, not realizing or recognizing really that has nothing to do with me, what this other person thinks or what they feel about a situation. Again, we all have our own reality and our own lives to lead. And so internalizing that and making that a part of like how I perceive myself and what I was capable of completely stopped me in my tracks like so many times. It's like, again, comparing, like, oh, their post is so good, or they post like this, or this person's doing that over there, or they want me to do this and they want it tomorrow, and da 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 da. And then all of a sudden, you and what you've been trying to accomplish becomes less and less of a priority because you've piled all these other things on top of it as requirements prior to you moving forward, when really you can just show up like however like you want to show up every day, and it doesn't have to go in any particular order either. You can just, however you are, whoever you are right now is enough. Even if tomorrow you're a little more tired and you have a busier schedule, like, that's okay. Again, we do need to implement that balance, but just not allowing all of these things to prevent you from moving forward, not allowing these things to live in your head rent-free and prevent you from doing the work that you came here to do, because it's important. So yeah, you've already done the work. Just show up, and like, you will keep evolving and growing and coming into your own as you show up. And so yeah, I'm going to read a couple more messages. I know this is probably going to be long. That's why it's also why it's separate from the tarot video, because I'm doing the most today, and that's okay. A lot of this too, like, I've already said, like, rest, balance your energy, let go of worry. I also got a vision the other day in my meditation of crashing. It was like, I don't know, guys, things are about to shake up. Like, we've just entered a new month. Today is May 1st. It's 3:15. I don't know if that number is significant for anybody. It is support, new beginnings, freedom, and change, like numerology wise. So that's really cool. But maybe it has other significance to you. But I saw like breaking glass and crashing, like loud crunching, like almost like a car crash, but like, I don't want to label it that necessarily. It just felt like a transformation, like things are about to shake up. Things are about to break away in like a significant and lasting way. That could be mentally, that could be physically, things moving out of your life that have been around for a long time, things that you thought provided you stability even, is what I feel. Yeah, things that you thought were going to be around for a long time, or maybe things that you like defined yourself by, are no longer going to be. Like, that is shifting. I think collectively we're all coming into like this new reality, actual truth, and anything that doesn't fall into those lines of like who you actually are and what your purpose actually is, and you like honoring that and living by that, I don't think is going to have space in your reality anymore, whether you usher it out or God does, you know? And so, yeah, I saw crashing, and I wrote down things will never be the same. And so, like, look forward to that. Excuse me. I like to say in regards to those things, I'm just relating back to the tarot, like the death card, which is a symbol of transformation, not literal death most of the time. There's 4 people on that card. One of them is a child who's curious and who's looking at death, like this, like what are you all about? Like, maybe I do want to get on your horse and ride into the sunset with you. I don't know, but it's just like, he's not afraid, and that's the point I'm trying to make. It's like, don't be afraid of the transformation. Another beautiful symbol on the death card is a sunrise in the background, which is just like new, brighter beginnings and new opportunities that are available to you after you allow yourself to release things, be that physical, spiritual, emotional, whatever, that just no longer serve you. And not holding on for fear of change or because you're comfortable in the situation. A lot of times you're not actually comfortable, but it's familiar. And so you choose it anyway because you don't want to risk ending up in a worse situation, but that's never the case. Like, when things break away in that way, it's because they weren't supposed to be there in the first place, and oftentimes it's holding you back from your happiness. And so I would say go into this like that child on the death card with that sense of curiosity and wonder and no fear. Don't have fear around this. Faith and fear cannot live in the same space. Your blessings cannot, a lot of the bigger ones, I'll say, like, cannot come through while you're still afraid. And, sometimes shedding fear does happen in stages. You kind of have to practice a little bit and stop being afraid of smaller things. And then, the bigger things like start to fall away as well. But, oftentimes those bigger blessings don't come through while you're still hanging on to all these pieces of you that don't serve and honor what's going to be required in order to manage the things that you're asking for. So just let go, guys, and trust. Just trust that it's all going to be okay, and that wherever you land after these things happen is exactly where you're supposed to be in order to get you to where you have been begging and praying to get to. Like, it's not always going to happen the way that you imagined it. Oftentimes, it's not going to happen the way that you imagined it. And when you get there, it's not going to look how you imagined it. But it's going to be what you asked for. And it's going to be beautiful. And it's going to be worth whatever you had to let go of. So, like, just don't sweat it. Don't stress it. It's all going to work out. With that said, it says, don't deny your purpose. Trust yourself above all, and don't give your power away. That kind of goes back to something else I said earlier as well, as far as like constantly seeking. Like, when you're seeking, you're kind of telling the universe that you don't trust yourself and you don't trust in God or, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, to get you to where you want to go. So trust yourself above all. You don't have to constantly be looking for answers. You don't have to constantly know what's going to happen next. And I'm telling that to myself too, even in the line of work that I do, as a reader, I am constantly and consistently coming into energy of the past, present, and future, especially when I do readings for other people. They want to know what's going to happen next. And, even this, just talking to you guys about the energy shift that we're in and where we're headed. It's not healthy to consistently and constantly be consuming this kind of stuff. It's certainly beneficial, especially in terms of just getting aligned and feeling seen and comforted, and just having that extra like encouragement and validation that we all need from time to time in order to feel like we can carry on, especially if you're in kind of a dark place, or you're in like the midst of a shift where like it's really hard and there's a lot of like deep stuck energy that's moving through you right now. It's like kind of intense. Like this is definitely something that can help you get through that. But at the same time, don't become codependent on finding answers and constantly knowing what's next so you can prepare. Like that's just going to give you anxiety. Like that's where anxiety stems from. It's like trying to know what's happening next and trying to control that outcome and like feeling out of control. Like this, you don't need to be like that. You just need to trust and you just need to allow. Like you have to be in a state of allowing. I even had like, again, April was crazy. The amount of synchronicities and messages I got around allowing my voice to be heard. So many. From day one to yesterday, it's constant, like different people in different ways on different occasions telling me, use your voice. Your power is in your voice. People testing me and putting me into situations where I should have used my voice, or I needed to use my voice and maybe I didn't. And then that being like, oh, that's one of those instances where you should have spoke up. You should have spoken up. And it's just crazy. And then like I had a day where people were literally just giving me stuff. It started with, I went to a pharmacy by where I work to buy a drink, like a soda, because I needed some caffeine. I don't really drink soda and stuff like that. I don't know, like who fucking cares? Sometimes I drink soda, especially if I'm really tired and I'm at work. I prefer that over coffee or something like that, because it just feels like easier, like on my heart. Like I start getting like the palpitations and shit. I prefer tea overall. Anyway, this is the ADHD. Let's just I went to the pharmacy next door to get a soda. I was like so tired. I had a few more hours left in my day. They were closed, and so I went next door to this restaurant, and I was just gonna buy like a fountain drink. I was like, I have to get some caffeine in me right now. And I ordered it from the bartender. He just gave it to me for free. And I was like, no, like, please let me pay you. And he was just like, absolutely not. Like, it's fine. And that was it. So I was like, okay, thank you, God. Like, thank you, bartender. That was amazing. Went back into work. This wasn't really free. It was kind of an exchange, but that same day I got a message from another reader that I work with. She's incredible. She's very much tuned in. She's like very powerful as well. And even in that reading, she was just like, there were things that happened before this that I'm about to tell you, but like she was like, yeah, they told me to not even give you an in-depth reading. They said to just like, you need to just allow, and you just need to, just get in tune with yourself and meditate and da-da-da. And she pulled cards and the card said that too. And then a friend of mine gave me a necklace and also bought me this awesome neon sign for my setup there that I had been wanting, but just like, procrastinating on getting, because I'm like, well, I have to pay for this other stuff and that's not that important and it kind of costs a lot of money, so I'll just wait, kind of thing. Then another person comes up and they gift me this. Like, I wire wrapped it. It was just the crystal. Well, it was actually a different crystal, but I traded with my friend because she liked that one better and I liked this one better. So yeah, she gives me this crystal and she's like, it's for protection to keep the negative vibes away. And I'm like, cool. And I love it. It's labradorite or labradorite, whatever you call it. But that's one of my favorite crystals. Like, I like anything that sparkles and glows, like opal, labradorite, moonstone, whatever. Then she also gifted me like a money tree the next day. And it was just so many different, it was just like boom, boom, boom. Like everybody just like consecutively just gifting me things. And I was like, what is going on? And the universe is like, we're trying to show you that you don't have to worry about anything. You need to get out of your head. You need to let go, and you need to allow these things to happen, because they're going to happen for you, whether you sit there and think about it for 20 hours or you just fucking get to it, you know, or you just like sit back and relax, which is the main point there, is to just allow it to happen. You know, like all these things that I was worried about, all these things that I needed, like more protection, ready and available for me the second I decided to just let go. And so it's like, don't, you know, this whole month has just been like extremely transformative as far as like learning those lessons to let go, and to speak up, which is another reason I'm here on camera. And I actually will be posting more, because I've gotten to the point after doing this work where like, that's no longer something I just want to do. It's something I know I'm capable of doing, you know, versus before I was just like, I want to post more. Maybe if I say it and make promises to other people, I'll hold myself to it better and I'll show up. It's like, no, I'm just going to show up because it doesn't fucking matter. Show up like this. Honestly, this is pajamas. It's still a cute top, but you know, it's got like a little stain on it. It is what it is, but it's just like, that doesn't take away from the words that I'm speaking and the value of my message. You know, what's important is, again, just showing up. And not everything is going to be, you know, this huge transformative thing, but for somebody it's going to mean something. For somebody it's going to make their day or give them that little bit of encouragement that they needed to keep going. And so yeah, just let go, guys. This is going on. Okay, we're at 36 minutes. It's not as long as I thought. I was like, I'm probably an hour in. I go on, you guys. Let me keep reading this stuff. I just wanted to tell you that, because that was a crazy day, and April was legit, like, incredible. It really was, like, as far as transformation goes and so many other things, and everything was not perfect. There's still some things I definitely have to work out in the 3D, but it was such a good month as far as helping me to grow and to let go of a lot of things that I was holding on to that were holding me back. So we have eat healthier foods, less salt and sugar, eat natural whole foods, and go outside. We hear that all the time, you know, just be healthy. Just allow yourself to live a more natural life. The more natural of a life that you live, like as far as like, again, eating whole foods and going outdoors, the easier it will be for you to accomplish your goals, because you'll have more energy, and again, you'll be like more balanced. Excuse me. I just ate lunch. I'm sorry. I keep like, but anyway, it's really important to balance your energy and to ground, like, and when you're eating whole foods, particularly like raw natural foods, it really helps to transmute energy and balance your chakras. Like it's as easy as eating foods that are the color of your chakras, eating foods that are the color of the rainbow. That makes it even simpler. Like it needs to be colorful. It shouldn't all just be like brown and beige and white, you know. Like just having just cultivating more balance into your lifestyle, and you know, getting outside, which you know will help you to get out of your head and to get you off of social media where you might be comparing yourself to other people or overthinking your next post or whatever it is. Like just giving yourself the space to be a human, like, and you know, communicating with other people and interacting with technology. Like, yeah, it's technology, but you know, in my brain, you know, logically it is still part of Mother Earth, you know, these are made out of like crystals and, you know, metals and energy. But you're not supposed to just constantly be consuming and constantly be how do I word that? I wanted to say like putting in effort, but that's not like how I mean it. It's just like it's okay to just relax, you know? It's important to just relax. And so some of the ways you can do that, of course, are just like eating healthier food will help regulate your nervous system better. And so will going outside and just sitting still. But I got that. Somebody needs to hear that. You need to balance your diet. You need to eat less sugar and less salt. This kind of goes back to what I said before about that crazy day I had, but it says abundance is yours. You must align with it and allow it to come to you. Stop blocking your blessings with fear. So I'm not going to like go on and on about that. I think that's very self-explanatory. I already told you about that crazy day I had where, you know, and I think that happened for me because I have been in a fear-based state of mind some days about like how certain things are going to happen or what my future is going to look like, especially if I'm constantly afraid. It's 3:33, especially if I'm constantly afraid to move forward and to take this next step and to use my voice. And like, what if I post this and nobody likes it? What if I post this and it sounds dumb or I have a typo, which has happened, but it doesn't fucking matter. People liked it anyway. And it even if they didn't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nothing has to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be afraid of messing up, because messing up is like part of the journey. It's the learning experience comes through making mistakes and figuring out how to do things different than you did them before. So just let all of that go, because you're blocking your blessings. You're blocking all the things that are really meant for you by living in that state of mind where everything has to be perfect. Everything has to go as planned. Everything has to be planned in the first place. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Some of the most amazing things happen miraculously and on a whim, weren't planned, just came to you because you let go of control. When you have that sense of like needing things to go a certain way, that's where you find the most disappointment as well. Because it's never going to go exactly the way that you planned. Never. There's always going to be something that's going to go differently. And, you know, even if all in all, in the end, after all is said and done, things went great, there's always a hiccup. I will throw an example out there. I had an open house last month for other readers of the space I work in. And everything was, you know, it went really good. After the fact, I was like, I'm so glad I did this. I was in the zone. It was really fun. I loved connecting with all these powerful women and people. But on my way there, I have to go through a tunnel to get to my job. Well, not my job. My job is wherever I am, but like to the building that I have my business in. And somebody's car broke down in the tunnel, like on my way there. And like literally right as I'm about to go through it, the guy comes out like with the stop sign, like telling us all to stop. And then like, you know, minutes go by and the tow truck comes and I'm like, oh my God, like time is ticking by. I have to get there. I have to set up. People are going to be there this time. You know, I want to make a good first impression because, you know, I want these people to want to be here. And I need them to have somebody to talk to when they show up. You know, I can't just not be there or still be setting up, you know. But so much worry and stress went into those like 10 minutes or however long it ended up taking. I thought it was going to take longer. I thought I was going to be like stuck there like, you know, a half hour, but they were actually really quick and like getting in there and blocking off one lane and helping the guy out and letting the traffic back through. But experienced so much stress in such a short span of time because of that. And it's just like, you know, it ended up working out anyway. And the one girl who did show up early, she was chill. She knew exactly what it was like. She's like, I've had to go through the tunnel too. Like, it just be like that sometimes. And she is actually the reader I talked about earlier, who I got the reading with that day, where people were just giving me shit. And like, she's incredible. And I'm so happy to have her there. But I went into that situation being so worried of what would happen, of if I was going to get set up on time, of if I was going to give off the wrong impression because somebody broke down in the tunnel. And it was all for nothing. And it usually is. So I say that to say, like, just, probably said it like 50 times already, but just let go. Just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Try not to get caught up in those kinds of things. Anytime that happens, it's just an opportunity for you to practice patience and faith. I'll say that. All right, we're almost done here. Give yourself consistent time to listen and hold space for yourself. Yourself too. I say that consistent time to listen. I say that like as far as like listening to yourself. Again, like in my line of work and just in general, like many of us, you know, we grow up being people pleasers in one way or another. Be that you're constantly trying to do for other people, you're constantly trying to bring the entertainment for other people, or you always want to like flash and like, you know, like there's always some reason you need to like, you know, show off your peacock feathers for other people because that's what makes you feel valuable and useful. But you deserve that. You deserve that just as much as the people you're trying to give it to. Like, there's no need for you to be constantly trying to give to other people and never giving back to yourself. And I found myself doing that throughout my life in so many different ways. It used to just be extreme people pleasing and being a yes person and like constantly being that friend who wants to like go all out and buy you shit, throw you parties and whatever. I'm not like that anymore. I give to people who deserve to be given to. And that doesn't necessarily mean like you have to earn the right, but people who I know are going to reciprocate or who are really in need are the people that I pour into. I don't just pour into any and everybody like I used to. But you deserve to be impressed. You deserve time for yourself. You deserve to be heard. And that doesn't have to always be from other people either. You need to be giving back to yourself in the same ways that you give to other people. Period. It's as simple as that. Like, there's no don't make up reasons why you don't deserve the love that you give. You deserve it more than anyone. So just give back to yourself. Hold space for yourself too. And that also, when it does come to other people, that also means using your voice, like we talked about earlier. You know, so many people are so quick to hear their own voices and not as quick to listen. But like, you know, people say you're given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should be listening twice as much as you speak. And that's across the board. Don't hold yourself to that and not hold other people to that, and then just constantly allow people to dump on you. And then as soon as you start talking, they get on their phone or they're like, what? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. It's like, okay, well then you don't deserve to hear what I said. I'm not going to repeat myself. And that's not across the board. But if you notice it's a consistent pattern with certain people, which it is a consistent pattern with certain people, don't give them your time. Like, respect yourself enough to say, you know what? fuck it. Like, I'll talk to somebody who cares. Or, you know, I'm going to go do something that pours back into me, that gives back to me, that's worth my time right now, because you are not, you know? And honestly, I don't know if that's the way I meant to say that initially, but it is what it is. Like, I feel strongly about that. Because some people are just energy vampires. And we don't have time for that anymore. It's time for us to take care of us in all the ways. The last thing I have written on this page is don't be afraid to take risks. God will always catch you and set you where you need to be. And I did kind of touch on that earlier as well. Like, if anything goes wrong when you do decide to, like, try something new or take a risk or, like, you know, venture down a new path, know that regardless of what happens, like, there's going to be something there for you. You're never in the wrong place. Never. Like, you are always aligned, and you have to tell yourself that, and you have to believe that you are always aligned, no matter what's happening or where you're going. I don't want to, like, we're at 50 minutes. Yeah. I don't want this to be, like, too much longer, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm not going to read, like, all of what I wrote on these other pages here. But I do want to just, like, skim it really quick. A couple of things that stand out for me in this other notebook are there's nothing to be afraid of, and there will be no challenges you don't easily overcome. You guys are protected, okay? Like, light workers, human beings, those of us with faith and knowing that, you know, we're on this path for a reason. You're being protected. Like, as long as you're moving toward your highest and best good and the highest and best good of the collective and walking in your purpose, you're always going to be protected in doing that. So there's nothing to be afraid of. Let it all go. We've been talking about that this whole time. It's just like that there will be no challenges that you don't easily overcome is really important. Like, look at what you've already done and where you've already been and use that as an example. Life does get hard, but it will only get better from here. And that is actually the next thing I was going to say. Like, it only gets better is the last thing I wrote here. As far as going back to your past too, guys, I know I've said in other videos, particularly my tarot videos, like, sometimes you have to go back to your past in order to do healing and da-da-da. And yes, that is true. But don't stay there, guys. It's easy to stay there. It's easy to get stuck once you get in the habit of constantly doing that work and just being like, I'll go back to summer 1995 real quick and heal from my, 5th birthday or whatever. Fuck, I wasn't 5 in 95. I was 2, but just an example, like, it's not necessary to keep doing this kind of stuff over and over again. It will eventually become a pattern and then a habit, and then it's just all you do. And, like, you don't want to be in that place where you're just eventually living in the past that you hated, like, go there, do what you need to do, and then do work to release it. That's something I had to do recently, was just release. Like, find the space to really genuinely forgive other people, realizing that as a light worker, as an earth angel, as somebody who knows that I've been here countless times, that some of the people that I have encountered and dealt with throughout my life are simply just children, and that I am the adult here in this situation, and that when it comes to children, there's a certain level of just recognition in the fact that you can't punish them that hard for things that they really just don't even understand, even if it's wrong. They just don't understand Like, and it's as simple as that, but I do. And so I need to find the space within myself to forgive and recognize that it is up to me, regardless of the age of your soul, like, to decide to move on, and to let go, and to not let that define you. Another really big thing I got in that meditation was that you've always been you before you got here. I've also said in other videos, like, you know, the situations that you've gone through have made you. No, they didn't. They were to awaken you, to help you to remember who you are. But nothing that happens to you makes you. You're already you. You're already powerful. You're already enough. This is all just to help you remember who you are and to help set you on the right path. But you came here into this life being enough, being powerful, having the skills and abilities that you need. You're just remembering. Yeah, you're just remembering. You're always in line with your gifts and manifestations. There's no more waiting. Change is happening now. That's all I'm going to read out of this. Oh, and stop procrastinating. But I think we get the point on that with all the other messages as well. Like, don't get stuck in any place or time. Be as present as you can be. Find balance in all areas and take care of yourself. And just show up however you are, whoever you are. You're where you're supposed to be. You're who you're supposed to be. And you're capable of doing all the things that you want to do. So just say fuck it, you know? Fuck it and show up. And allow the blessings that you have been waiting for to come to you. Stop trying to make them happen. Just show up and they will appear in front of you. It's that simple. And so, yeah, with that, guys, we're just under an hour. I'm going to let you guys go. I really enjoyed this, and I hope that you have too. If you did, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below, and we can chat about this. You guys can also make suggestions if you want me to talk about anything in particular. I'm also opening, my books for readings are open, but I'm also going to link my website down below. So if you would like to get a reading with me, a private reading, you can book through my website, or you can email me at connect@houseb.me, which is the name of my company. I feel called to do that. I think, you know, some of you who might see this, or some of you who are subscribed, I don't have a ton of subscribers, but it's cool. But some of you who are subscribed, I might not actually know you, and you might not know how to access me. And so, yeah, I will also link all that down in my bio, like my email too. So yeah, I just wanted to open that up to you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here and for listening to this. I hope, again, that you've enjoyed it. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to go do the tarot video for May for you guys. Bye.